or at least do I go over there and go co-host, or I'm not sure how it would work, but heck yeah, absolutely, I would support it. We hit the I hit the button. Anyway, you want to come up here, Chitterville? It's just me talking to myself. I'm not going to be here long, unless we have like a really great conversation. But yeah, that's primarily what I want to use TikTok for, is just talking about the paranormal, talking about the strange, talking about the weird, the cool, the occult, the paranormal, like the weird things that are going on, the supernormal, the preternatural, the multidimensional, the esoteric, the occult. Like it was crazy, man. I cannot believe it, but because of conversation, how these things work, the other day I ended up defending a Satanist over a Muslim. And I know that sounds weird, but theologically and spiritually speaking, it was just like the order of events. And so, these are just the kind of casual conversations that pop up over here. Imagine if we had directed and targeted conversation. So this is the plan. This is me saying that, maybe in the future we'll have late night ghost storytelling time or something like that. But this is me just familiarizing myself with the technology. I don't know if this will be posted up on our archive feed, if people can see that we went live in the past and can go watch this, but what I'll do is I'll rip this and then I'll put it out over on our Substack as a video that you guys can go watch and go listen to. So I don't know if they'll do it, but we'll archive it on our end. It's nothing direct, nothing serious, very, very low key, just kind of chilling. And the graphic that you guys see, here, I'm going to send you an invite. Because who is like God? No one is like God. Chitterville, no one is like God, my friend. And maybe that's why he created us, so that we could know what it's like. No one is like God. Who is like God? Or maybe we're all like God. And that's why he created us, is so he could experience himself in so many different ways.
That was sent by Michael the Archangel. Deus, who is like God. No one is like God. I'm very religious. I pray the rosary every night. And I'm looking right now at Jesus Christ on the cross. He carried the cross. What is the most famous thing that God wants you to do? What does he want you to have? He wants you to have mercy. Be merciful. Right? I'm so dumb compared to him. I'm so lucky to have known him. I'm so dumb compared to God. I'm steering him right now, by the way, just if you're wondering.
Share with us.
Well,
because I feel the same, man. And it's a liberating ignorance, not because you humble yourself before God, right?
If I told you I have a picture I found in the trash, and it is God holding the cross, and I try to put it up with tape and it wouldn't stay up, and for some reason it shouldn't stay up. Do you know it's staying up by itself? So I don't even know how it's staying up. I'm not joking. This picture is like defying all physics. But for some reason, with the cheap tape I'm putting up, he's staring right at me right now. Right now as I'm talking to you. So I just know there is a God. There is not even a question in my mind.
Do you think there's a message in that? Have you...
I've had a lot of things happen to me. I have had a lot of things happen to me. Yes, absolutely. He's staring at me right now. Hi, Jesus. I'm not joking.
Do you feel like he's reaching out right now?
Oh, I'm not joking. Let me see if I can show it to you. Hold on. How do I do this? I'm so
And
bad at this crap.
and do you feel like it's for a reason? Like, has he been
Oh
reaching out
yes, oh yes,
recently? Has
oh
there been
yes.
like
There's
multiple
been
signs? Like,
I have oh yeah, a lot of things. My gosh, I wish I could tell you how many things you wouldn't even believe me. Um I I truly believe because I've been spending more time. Sorry about the way I look, but it's late at night. So
you're fine. You're fine.
let me just switch this. I'm so bad at this crap. So how do I switch this? Settings. How do I get you to? Oh, can I turn it around and let you look at it? Can you see
Is
it?
it showing?
Can you see it? Can
I
you see
can't
it?
see it. It's not showing on this end. No.
Oh, hold on. Sorry. How do I do this? Oh, I think I know how to do it. I think I know how to do it. Hold on. Give me a minute.
No,
Give me
you're
a
fine.
minute.
Take your time.
Okay. See it, see it, see it, see him, see him, see him, see him,
I
see
can't
him.
see. I can't see. It's not showing me. It's not
I'm
showing
not.
camp. I just see
Oh my
your
God.
profile
Hold
picture.
on. I'll bring it up to you. Hold on. Hold on. This is the thing. This is just a piece of paper. Look at this. Okay. Look at. I've had this with this tape. You know the cheap tape you buy to wrap your gifts. I have had this on for over 6, 7 months. This shouldn't hold. This should not be sitting. This should not be happening. This picture should have fallen off multiple times, but it's been stuck on the wall. It won't come off. There it is. There he is. There he is. He stares at me all the time from my bed. Do you believe that? Hold
I do.
on.
You say you pray
So
the rosary. You pray the rosary like every night.
every single solitary night. Matter of fact, I do. Gosh, because there's a few things that I believe because some people just don't. But anyhow, I pray the rosary every single night and I also have this book. Let me see if you can see it. So I want you to see it. Ooh, God.
I still can't. I still can't see your screen or your camera.
No?
No,
That's weird. That is really weird. Why would
it
you not see
is.
this? Oh, let me save it. Hold on. Sugar.
Oh, there we go. All right, now I
Can
can
you
see.
see it
All right.
now?
Okay,
I
now I
don't
can
know
see
what you
it.
see. So bear with me because I'm just totally dumb. So here you go. And there's the picture. Here he is. There he is. Look at it. Look at it. That is with, do you ever get like Christmas wrapping tape? That picture has been up for 6 months. That picture should have fell off. I used the most cheapest tape from the dollar store, and it's never come off. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Wow,
It's
wow.
never come off. I'm just telling you. I mean, I know there's my pictures I draw and sketch, but what do you think of that? What do you think of the fact that you know how this is like a wall that I've had everything slide off of it, but this picture will not come off.
I think we have everything around us for a reason, and I think it's holding up there for a reason.
Well, see, this is my thing, okay? Because if I told you certain things, maybe nobody would care, I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. So if I'm taking myself off and off, I just don't know what I'm doing.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I have had things happen to me in my lifetime that really defy any type of explanation. So I'll make this really quick. So both my parents passed. And let me start with my father. My father passed. 2 weeks before he passed, I was in my living room, sitting in my chair, and I smelled roses. It was March. The windows were closed. There were no roses outside. The smell was so potent, and you're just like, okay, Chitterville, it's part of you're just kind of seeing, thinking, feeling these things because it's probably an effect of him passing. Because he was close to passing. He was in the hospital. So my father passed, and a day after my father passed, there were some pictures in the den, and one of the pictures fell off, but it was on the ground. I couldn't see it. So I went to pick it up, and there was my mother and father, and my mother was holding a rose. Okay. I have had incidences.
Wow.
If I told you, I was in a church, and I was going through something, and I wasn't feeling well, and I felt someone wrap their arm and hand around my waist. My husband was next to me, and at the end of I was in the Michael the Archangel church, by the way, in Las Vegas. And after the mass ended, I turned to my husband. I said, "Oh, thank God. I was really not feeling well. Thank you for holding on to me when we were standing up. I can feel you holding." He said, "Chidable, I wasn't holding you. I never had my arms touching you." And I'm telling you, it felt like literally that. I'm not joking. Like
Like you can physically feel like the embrace
I
of a completely
physically
another human
felt
being.
someone had their arms around my waist, around me, holding me up. That was the only thing.
That's crazy.
Another
That's crazy.
incident took place when I was a child. I was in my room. I was going through something when I was really young. I was not, I had had a lot of issues with my heart because I had rheumatic fever.
Hmm.
And I was in my room and I woke up staring at a mirror and I could see a light next to me on the other side. It was so bright I couldn't look at it. And in both my hands, I looked down and I had crosses, silver crosses. And the light, like a blob, lifted up, like it's like lifting its arm up, and both the crosses lifted up. I looked down and the crosses lifted up, and I was like, and I don't to this day know what that was about.
What, like a stigmata type deal? Like you had crosses
I
in
had
draped your.
crosses literally, figuratively in my hands I never had before. They were so heavy. And they were both draping off the side of my bed. And I went to look over and I saw a bright light. I couldn't look at it because it was sensitive to my eyes, but I could see it in the mirror in front of me. Like I had a huge, bureau mirror. And I said, "Oh my God, what is that?" And all of a sudden, like the blob, like looked like it had a blobbed hand, like lifting up. And as it lifted up its hand, I looked at the two crosses that were in my hand and they lifted up. So I think God was telling me, like, see, I got a cross, right? You saw the cross with Jesus
Yeah.
carrying the cross. I think God was telling me that I will always be there to lift those crosses. I will always be there. You're not walking alone. Whatever you're going through, I will lift those. I will make them light. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that picture that I showed you, I'm not lying. The cheapest, um, the cheapest, tape you could buy, like a dollar store tape. That thing should have came off like 6 months ago. I should have been taping it over and over again. It hasn't moved. That is a piece of like paper. If you felt it, it's like, when you roll up, when you get a poster, I
Hmm.
had a hard time unrolling it. Like it kept bulking, how it just keeps rolling up. And I tried to flatten it. And then I just put a bunch of scotch tape on it and it kept falling off. I'm like, "Oh," I said, "I don't care. God, do you want this up?" I literally said it to God, "You want?" And then I went to put it up one more time. I was at the last end of the roll of the tape. And for 6 months, that has not come down. That should have came down. Do you understand why I didn't use like extra glue or tape, like special tape? It's the cheap ass tape you buy at the dollar store to wrap gifts. So explain it to me. And he stares at me like every night. You see how he looks in my direction.
It's weird. I just get this like sense of him making your life lighter. Like that's
I
just
love him so much.
the
I
continual
love
theme
him.
I'm getting from everything, from just like the picture being up to the crosses to like the physical embrace that you had at the church. I'm just getting this like theme of whatever burden you're going through, right? He is with you and he will always make it lighter. Like that's just the continual theme I'm getting based off of what you've told me so far. I love it.
Thank you for saying that because I love him so much. I love him so, so, so much that, you know, if he wants me, how's this? If he wants me, if he has mercy for me, I look forward to the day that I get to spend eternity with him, if I get that chance. So I don't even do it with like arrogance. Like if he wants me, if I can serve him the best I can possibly serve him, the only thing I want, the only thing I want is to spend time and hear the choirs of angels sing it. That's all I want is to be with him. I want to run into his arms. I don't know why I said that to you, but that's just how I feel. Isn't that crazy? That is crazy.
There is nothing wrong with professing your faith. There is nothing wrong with professing your faith. Absolutely.
I didn't mean to come on here and do this, but I'm just telling you for a fact
No,
that
no.
I am saying this because people want proof and they want proof. There's a lot of other things I can't even begin to tell you, which makes no sense, but it doesn't matter to me. The only thing that matters to me is whatever I have to do on this earth, how many people I ask for forgiveness, how many things I have to do to get to him. I will walk over a coal. I will do whatever it takes to be with him. That's how much I want to be with him.
Amen.
I mean that in a very, do you understand? Like my end destiny is that I will be so lucky if I could spend eternity with God. That's just the way I see it. It's crazy. I know that sounds absolutely crazy,
I don't think
but
it
that's
sounds
how,
crazy. I don't think it sounds crazy. I think that like I think we're, like I'm a deeply spiritual person. I need to be more religious, and I think that's why I just love hearing you like profess your faith like this because it is powerful, and I'm hearing this, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm thinking we're realizing that this world that we're in is just like a waiting zone, a lobby, and when we get out of these bodies and when we return back to like wherever it is that we come from, it's that's home, and that's what we call God. That's how we identify God. That's how we identify heaven as like a better place than this, right?
you know what's
Because
funny? Because I had like an aha moment. I didn't interrupt you.
mhm.
Do you ever hear you must have heard this 100 times. They say, Lord have mercy.
Yeah,
God have mercy.
yeah,
You know, you hear that. You've heard that. And we say it a lot of times. And then I was reading about it and then I looked up the term, what mercy is.
it's
And you
grace.
know, it's grace. And you know what? He gives it to us. Until the day of judgment comes, he will give it to us. He will give it to us freely, right? He's offering it every day. And yet all we have to do is accept it and ask for it. But that's what the word is, right? Lord have mercy. God have mercy.
Amen.
And he's like, I have mercy. You just have to be willing to take it. Isn't that crazy that he offers that and nobody realized how great that is? He offers that to all of us.
He
Like
does.
that's all it is.
It's so crazy because I've been telling people like, can you in these times specifically, as everything's getting wilder, can you not feel like the divine, like the
Yes.
supernatural? Can you not feel like reaching out to you right now? Like
A lot. I
it's
feel
like
like it's
it's like
happening
off
more
the
and more.
charts these days.
I feel like there are times where I actually know it's just it's a I know I don't want to sound morbid. Please don't take this the wrong way. But I really think we are closer to what we call a culmination of things about to happen. I'm not saying this,
Mhm.
we know the end when it's going to happen, but we are heading in that direction. And I really do feel my instincts, my spiritual instincts are saying, yes, we are closer than we think. And I think he's calling us to do things because we are getting that close. I don't think people are realizing it, but I think people feel it. We need each other. We need to be merciful to each other. We need to be loving and kind. It's not about who you voted for or what your likes or dislikes are, what the color of your skin. We need each other more now than ever.
Hmm. I agree wholeheartedly. I think there is a wisdom and a spirit being poured out right now, and it's just it's got people feeling stuff off of the charts. My senses are like next level. It feels like I'm beaming all the time, or I'm getting just this download of information, or this download of just like nothing that you see on the news, nothing that you hear people talking about. So when you're talking about professing your faith and just like wanting to get back to God, I understand that just that I don't even know how you would call it, that drive, that energy, because it's been off the charts these past couple of months. And
Don't you think it's, can I ask you a question? I'm going to ask you a serious question.
mhm,
There is not enough that the world itself can give you. Not enough gold, not enough silver, not enough of everything that you think is going to make you feel fulfilled beyond words. Not happy, feel fulfilled.
mhm,
There's not enough. And if when you recognize that and realize that it's an end all be all, it has an end date, that's not where we should be putting all of our you know our passion. You know what I'm
absolutely,
saying? Don't you think that? Don't you think that
absolutely.
people are wasting their time? And you see it and you're like, what do you do? And I think a lot of people want to distract themselves. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, no, that's it. Distract themselves because the truth of this world is much more crazy than we could ever comprehend. And that's the perfect word to use, distract. I don't think they know what else to do with themselves. I don't think that we've had like a real conversation about deep spirituality, actually being connected to God, what the human experience is. I don't think we've been connected to that to anything for quite some time. Like the world we're living in right now, the politics, the show, all this crazy stuff going on, that's not real. Like it
No.
is real. You get what I'm saying, but at the same time it's not. Like there's something even deeper going on that we're all tied to that we're being distracted from. And I don't know how to put that into words because it's like outside of our normal perception, our normal discussionary bubble, so to
Right.
speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
And so
because
it's like,
it's the humanity of things. It's the reality. It's the finiteness of things. Do you understand? I don't think people
yes,
understand. And so here's this belief, this bigger than life thing that your thing says, paranoid conspiracy talk. Here's this it's not tangible. It's something you can't actually grab onto. Okay. It's not matter. It's not mass, right? Right. You can't feel it. Yet it exists. And then the reality of it is that we are facing dire times. I do my pages on social awareness. So I just did a piece about things that we may be facing in the imminent future with this war and gas prices it's daunting what this he is a politician, but he's an historian, and what he said on MS Now is daunting because we're going to face some really tough times. So
mm-hmm.
are we going to become
Famine.
more, yes, are we going to become more cognitive and more, are we going to work and look at our humanity and look at the spiritual end of it? Because how are we going to deal with this? I thought about it. It's not even the fear anymore. It's the reality of it. So we need to turn to each other in the spirituality of it. This is my opinion. Again, it may go against what everybody's thinking, but that's what
No,
I'm thinking about.
no, I think that is a good. Those are two great points that you're making. Thank you, Asia, for joining. Thank you, Asia, for joining. She sounds like she's sleeping. I
I
can't tell.
think
I'm gonna
so. I think she's sleeping.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute her real quick. But to your point, you said it right there. It's both of them. As we get closer to the end of all of this stuff, we're looking at the dance and the circus, the bread and circus, and we're like, this isn't real. This is actually insanity for us to be partaking in this. And then at the same time, it's like, look at all of these like paradigm changing events that are
Yes.
about to just like smack us in our face, and we really can't even comprehend how we can't comprehend it. And so when all that stuff does take place, as we see this paradigm shifting stuff about to hit us, and people over here basically rearranging, the deck chairs on the Titanic, a lot of
Oh,
people say,
oh
a
my
lot of people
God.
say, a lot of people
Stop,
saying, you know
stop. You
what?
just said something. Let me just tell you how I talk about synchronicity. Do
Hmm.
you know how many times in my lives or my TikToks I mentioned the Titanic? Two things that I mentioned, the Wizard of Oz and the Titanic. So you can continue because I've always said that Titanic forebodingness that you're bringing up.
That's
That
that's just what it feels like. In Asia, real quick, we muted you. You're welcome to join again if you'd like. We muted you because you were, I think, snoring or something like that. But thank you. But no, that's just the easiest way for me to describe where we're at right now. Just the surreal nature of everything that's going on. It's like the ship is sinking, the paradigm is shifting.
well
We're
said.
going into like a whole new epoch, and
Mhm.
you can feel again that sense of not necessarily like impending doom, but just this sense of just like everything's about to change. I don't really know what to do. It's not that you're like giving up on society and things. It's just like how do you cope, or how do you wrap your mind around everything that you've known just not necessarily disappearing, but changing radically and fundamentally. And so the version of you that was there in the past, that did go to the movies and go to the bars and care about the randomest thing that popped up, that's no longer there, right?
That's true. There was a
That's no
movie out.
longer there. And so
There
there's
was
a
a.
new version of you that is
That's
coming
true.
alive, that is being propelled by something different. So you either have people that are doubling down and being locked into that delusion, and we're seeing like an accelerated insanity with them, or you have people that are like pulling back and saying, my God, like how do we how do we do less of this system? How do we do less of all of this,
There was a
right?
movie that was a Canadian movie. It was called The Story About Me. It was a young girl in her 20s. She was married and had children with her husband. She was very happy. She ended up having ovarian cancer, she found out, and she couldn't come to tell her husband. that she had it. So she lived with it while she was dying with her family. She kind of lived her life. Anyhow, she shows a paradigm that you just mentioned. She's in the store and she's watching everybody going food shopping. This girl knows she doesn't have much more. She doesn't have long to live. And people are, she's, they react and they're dancing. And of course, this is all in her head. And they're going to buy food and she's looking at everything. And it's like she doesn't live in that world anymore. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Her world isn't about food shopping, going to the movies, doing superficial things. She's living a parallel world. She knows she's going to die.
Yeah.
And how superficial that world had become. I just wanted to bring that up. It's a very good movie if you get a chance. It's called The Story About Me. And it basically lays out her her few months left before she passes. So I think that's a big deal. I think people are they're living right now they're working through an alternate reality towards things. They know things are changing. There's a shift taking place. And it's like you said, I think some people are awakened by it. This is what I think.
Yes.
And others are still
Yes.
asleep.
Yes.
They're still on that Titanic waiting to, go down with it.
And the people that are waking up because of the adversity that we're like facing, that's what's propelling the rapid growth of like spirituality. Does that make sense? Like
That's true, yes.
we were asleep. We did not care. We were paid. We were tuned into the synthetic timeline that they were trying to preach to us. But as we disconnect from that timeline and we look at the organic timeline, the things that are actually unfolding in our world that we have to do something about, it's triggering something in us. That's a whole nother reason like why I'm starting this whole series over here where we talk about like psychic powers and just people coming online and just the spirit being poured out on people, different powers coming online, just the generations that are being born, the work that's got to be done. And it's weird because some of it does have this I wouldn't say like a kamikaze kind of mindset or just like a this fatalist kind of mindset. And I'm not saying this is fatalism. This isn't fatalism.
No, I don't agree with you. I think you're right. It's not fatalistic.
It's not this. It's something different. It's like, hey, if we continue to do that, that way leads towards a unnecessary end, right? If we do not come online, if we do not think different, if we do not wake up, if we do not come up with new systems, new paradigms, new modalities, new ideologies, if we don't rediscover who we are very quickly, we're going to fall off of a cliff. And to some people, that's a little overwhelming, right? Because of everything that I just mentioned there, the paradigms, the systems, the new thought processes. And to other people, they're like, hell yeah, let's lock in. Let's get that done.
Well, Edgar Cayce, you know about Edgar Cayce. You do know about Edgar Cayce, and he was an extremely philanthropic individual, but he went to sleep and he would literally say he would transport himself through timelines. Do you remember that? Like there's no past or future, he said. It was all ongoing. Well, Einstein said the same thing, by the way. Einstein believed in overlapping timelines. So that doesn't shock me, but we're kind of been asleep. We've been asleep. You know what I mean? We've been in this dormant sleep, and I think we're waking up to the reality of things, which is what's happening to us. Some of us, I don't know if everybody's doing that. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a chance that there are people that will deny this, deny. And then where that goes for people, I don't know. But I think, what you said about the analogy of a Titanic, when we hit the iceberg, you can't be asleep. You've got to.
Well,
wake up.
That's exactly where they want us. They want us looking at Trump. They want us looking at Trump. They want us focused on him because he's where they can draw our attention while they build this whole system behind him.
Oh, absolutely.
So they want us focused on this. Go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you brought that I wasn't going to bring up. So.
Yo.
What the hell is that?
Oh.
Yo.
You look embarrassed.
Give me 1 second.
So, like, what you talking about behind your screen?
Bro.
You talking about that yeah, what you talking about?
Bro, move your head so I can see your background.
Yeah, we can't see.
Give me
I don't know if you're doing a parallel screen with somebody, so I didn't know
I think I am. I'm not sure how to close
Hmm?
it.
No, 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 no. We trying to do it too. We trying to do it too.
do what?
Are you
The
That.
you
declassified documents reveal
We trying to do the thing that
synthetic.
y'all talking about.
Yeah, synthetic. Psychic.
Yo,
Can we be a part?
oh you guys are trying to hear about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
well, go to the link in our bio. We wrote this article.
Mm.
It's over on our
No,
Substack.
so then, what y'all talking about then?
We're talking about this and more.
No, what
Oh,
is
okay
that?
then. So then talk, and then we could just stay in here.
What is that though?
What, I'm sorry. What do you mean?
The
What is the behind
declassified
your head?
documents.
This is this is a graphic that we made.
For what?
So, like, is it real?
Yeah, yeah, it's real.
Okay, but like,
Look,
what is it for?
Can you read? It's reveal psychic. Can you read? Can you read?
oh nah,
We
Who's she
can't
talking
see, like,
to?
the other
right?
words.
Yeah, he in the way. We can't
Right,
see,
who's she
bro.
talking to?
I'm talking
This
to
is as
you.
much as you can like
Girl, you're
read.
not talking to
Yeah.
me and you look a mess.
It's a graphic.
Bro, click
All
the
right, all right.
button.
So then talk about it.
Yeah, hit the link in our bio. We wrote this
No,
article.
isn't you talking about it now?
Not at the moment, no.
All right, so then what you doing?
We have a
You look a
conversation.
mess.
You said
About
what?
what?
Well, I don't understand. Like,
Okay, I
were
want to
y'all
be included
reading?
in y'all conversation, so talk.
Have y'all been listening?
Yes, yes. I clicked on the link. I saw it.
Did you go read the article?
Yes, I read like half of it. Now talk.
Nice. What do you think about it? Like, do you think you have like psychic potential or?
Christian, hit the button. That
No.
shit.
I think that was a.
Oh, thank God. I don't even.
Yeah,
I need to figure out how to. I need to figure out TikTok more.
yeah, it's. I think they just come on. I think they're just like almost. I don't want to say bots, but they try. They've done that to me when I first started TikTok. I used to have a large account. That account was taken down by TikTok, and then that was part of the thing. They would bots coming in and out on the lives and stuff. Especially when you're having like serious, trying to have decent conversation. I mean, I didn't mean to be abrupt with her, but I said, "Can you read it? Reveal." And I was trying to say psych, and and it's sad because this is what we're dealing with right now. I mean, not about what people think or whatever, but we're in a place where you talk about paranormal. And by the way, I wanted to go back and segue what you said. Yes, we are being distracted
Yes.
by somebody you just mentioned, and that is a distraction. So and it's really macabre about what's going on behind the scenes. Do you not agree
No,
that they're being focused on that so that we don't pay attention to what they're doing? You know what I'm talking about, right?
well, I mean, look at. I mean, I'm out here in New Mexico. I've got no problem doxing that or talking about that. Zorro Ranch is just like right up the street. It's like
Oh,
about
wow.
45 minutes. Yeah, it's like 45 minutes to an hour up the street, man. There's people there all the time.
There are people there all the time. It's not really published. It's not a lot. The news has not been, the large corporate news media stations aren't reporting it every day. So what you're telling me, there are people out there. In other words, there are people that are at Zora Ranch. In other words, they're coming and going. I am really shocked by what they've been saying. I think Epstein was a window into that world.
Oh yes. Oh yes. And they practiced.
What they practiced. Go ahead, say it, what they practiced.
They practice some pretty dark stuff over there as well. They have their own different type of like occultism. They it's weird. Like it's New Mexico is a very spiritual state. Over there at Zorro Ranch, you can see people protesting it all the time. We've got the investigations that are going on. People associated with the investigation end up being unalived. A lot of sketchy things associated with it. But they practice their own form of occultism.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you something now. You are going to have to listen to this. So you are sitting, right? So
I'm sitting.
I am telling you a lot, and I kind of like throw things in. So my mother passed away from COPD 6 months before she passed. It was the year that Trump got elected. She was in a room, and my father and I visited her. I swear this on my son's soul. So for me to tell you this, I'm swearing on my son's soul, okay? I only have one child. And she was staring at the wall, And my father said to my mother, "What are you looking at?" And she goes, "Don't you see it? Don't you see it?" And we kept looking at her. I swear, this is creepy. I said, "Mom, what are you looking at?" She says, "Don't you see Trump getting inaugurated?" I'm not making this up, so let me finish. And so I
Well,
looked at my father and I looked at each other, and she says, "Don't you see Melania? She's wearing blue." She did wear blue. She wore powder blue at the inauguration. So we dismissed it. She wasn't on morphine at this time. So she wasn't on any type of medication. She had COPD, but she was back and forth because of breathing issues. So we dismissed it because we figured she was, 6 months prior to her passing. We didn't know she was going to pass 6 months from that time, but we figured that was the prelude of it, right? So the night of the election, my mother had passed by then. She had passed in April. My father was living with me in our home, and we were watching the tally of the results come in. It was only about a minute in, and he goes, I'm going upstairs." And I said, "Dad, you're not going to watch this?" Because he was a long shot. Remember that the first time he came into office, he was not predicted to win. I said, "Dad, come on, don't you want?" He goes, "No, no." And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Don't you remember what your mother said?" I said, "Oh, come on, Dad. She told you he's going to win." He went to bed. I couldn't take watching it. I had to go to work the next day. I went to bed, and at 3 or 4 in the morning, my phone was like blasting. I didn't know that they were telling me that Trump had won. So finally, when I woke up, I went into my dad's room, opened the door, knocked on it, and he goes, "What's?" I said, "Dad, I got something to tell you." He goes, I know. He won." And I said, "Oh, did you listen to it?" He goes, "No, don't you remember what your mother said?" But here's the weird part that I didn't tell you. My mother was never politically motivated. She was a small Italian. She weighed 105 pounds soaking wet, 5'4". She was like Leave It to Beaver. She was not involved in politics. The last year of her life, I would catch her crying in the living room all the time watching the news. And this is the beginning stages when she started to get sick. She was still well enough to get around. She was an extremely physical woman. I said, "Mom, what's wrong?" She goes, "Don't you see what's going on?" And I would go, "Mom," she would go on and on about Trump and the election, Trump and the election. I said, "Mom, why are you getting so upset?" Because my mother was not one of those that was involved in politics. Do you understand? And she said, "Phyllis," that's my real name. She said, "Do you know what's going to happen?" I said, "No, what are you trying to tell me?" She goes, "A lot of bad things are going to come out. A lot of bad, bad, bad things that nobody knew about. They're going to be so bad." And she was hysterical enough that I had to call up my husband and stay over their place, because she couldn't be left alone. She was hysterical over it. She would bring it up constantly that really bad, bad things were going to come out. We were going to find out about. And that meant government and everything. So I'm just telling you, that's the honest to God truth. That's on my son's soul. I am not making this up. I don't want to be mocked for this. I am telling you the truth.
no, I
So
understand.
I didn't know what she meant by bad stuff. And look what we're talking about.
Does your family have a history of being psychic or having that
Well,
premonition?
yes. That includes me as well.
Yeah, that was I'm scribbling that right down, down right here. I'm like premonition and an arrow right next to it, psychic family. I'm
It
like
is.
there's got to be something there.
Yeah. I dreamt after the second, in 2020, I
Hmm.
dreamt that Trump was going down an escalator in his long black jackets, waving up to me. And I said, "Oh, he's going to lose the election." And I had people at work laughing at me, and I said, "No, he's not going to win. He's going to lose." My mother predicted he was going to win. She saw Melania wearing blue. What I see happening today, and I don't want to say too much to people because I don't want people to get scared, it's really bad. Like, there's some really bad things that are going to happen. You know what I'm
I,
saying?
I've people are
I'm not
saying
being
that
that in
the
a bad
mushroom
way.
clouds are in our future. People are saying that mushroom clouds over over New York or just off of New York are in our future. That's in our future, as well as things like California potentially breaking and submerging. That's in our future too. They're saying a lot of crazy stuff's going to happen in the next couple of years,
Well,
and it's just going to happen
I had a dream about a month ago prior to this, so let me just give you something you already know. I dreamt of red skies, red and orange skies and red skies. Red skies. Remember the fires? Remember the fires in New York City coming from
Mhm.
Canada, the smoke? I
Mhm.
dreamt of that. And I dreamt of a classroom where kids were hunched under the seats of their desks. And that's all I can tell you. That was a month before we had the fires. I dreamt there was going to be, the skies were going to turn red, real red. You remember? And what happened with Canada, what's been happening in Canada, and the smoke and the orange and the red. I saw an orange sun. I saw an orange sun and red skies. And I kept seeing that. And I woke up and I even told family members, I feel like I'm choking. I'm choking. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I mean, I'm asthmatic, but you know when you wake up and you feel like you're choking?
Yeah.
And then I dreamt children were underneath desks. They were told to go underneath desks. So I don't know what that means. That's one of the things I dreamt about a month ago, but I've been having weird, like, really weird dreams. I felt choking. I felt like I was choking, and the sky was red. And then and this was a month before what just recently happened in Canada with the fires. And then I saw what was happening in New York, because I'm in the West Coast with you. I'm in Nevada, so I'm in the West Coast. And so my husband got calls from his my sister-in-law, that there was a lot of smoke. Did you see what's going on in the East Coast? Did you see about the smokes from Canada? They were enveloping the skies. And I was like, oh my God, I dreamt of this a month ago. I don't know what the children under the desks represent. So don't ask me, because I don't know what that means, other than that's what I saw.
I think when I think of children under desk, I think for some reason, bang bang or pew pew or something like that.
No, this seemed like, it felt like they were told to go under the desks. Like, not just in one ear, like children were told to go under desks.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that means something like, I just pray to God nothing happens from things that we're dealing with this,
Have you had like your mother? Have you had like any premonitions or anything like
I
this?
had had,
Like
okay, so here's, let me give you some of the, all right, so here's a really weird premonition. A few years ago, we were debating whether to move west because my son went to college here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll stop back then. I dreamt of my mother in a horse and buggy, and she had a sign, go west, in her, an arrow pointing go west. So that's how I ended up here, by the way. That's how I ended up in the Southwest. I recently dreamt of my mother, and my mother, when she shows up, there is this like rather, she looks really pretty. She really, she's very regal looking, but she has a sadness in her eyes, and that bothers me. To me, it's like she's trying to tell me something. Not like to me personally. It's like there's just I don't know. I get like this feeling, like the feeling I'm getting is like there's news coming. You know what I'm talking about? Not like someone's going to die. Like there's news. Like there's been a lot of things like, why am I out here? Why am I living in the Southwest? I think she put me here for a reason. I think part of the reason is, don't get upset about this, was for safety reasons. I think something's going to happen. And I think it's going to happen. If it is going to happen, it's going to happen in the eastern seaboards first. That's what I feel. I could be wrong about this, but I think people are looking at one area, but I'm looking at the east.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right. I have a couple of theories of my own where I think the very same thing, where, as I mentioned before, events taking place over on the East Coast, and certain cities potentially being submerged and things like this taking place. And that's just from some of the years worth of information I've looked at, people doing strategic relocation, and just
What do you think?
how active the state's been over these past couple of months. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but I think since I'm now picking up from you that you have studied this.
Oh,
So
yeah.
everything that's going on, especially with this war that's happening in the Middle East, the person that I listened to tonight has said between the war in Ukraine and Russia, and of course now Russia's been, having issues with keeping their supply of oil, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's crisis happening out there, and there's also a threat where Russia was going to threat Poland with invasion, and then what's going on in the Middle East. He said everything is colliding.
Mm-hmm.
It scares me. What he said tonight. This is on MS Now. He says like all these things are colliding together. And he said, and so the news anchor said, "How long can this go on?" I'm not making this up. You can go watch it. Can we go on like months and months like this? He goes, "No, we wouldn't survive for months." I couldn't believe he said that. Another person I heard today when I, was doing some stuff said we have 4 weeks. We don't have a long time. In other words, we can't continue going on this path for much longer.
One of the people I follow, Edward Dowd. He is a former BlackRock like statistician, and he's done a lot of work whenever it came to COVID and looking at this type of information. This didn't come out until after I did the show this week, but he was saying the same thing, that if oil continues to like trend this way, if it goes to $150, $200, like, we can kiss civility goodbye. There was another clip I was supposed to play on the show too of Professor Steve Keen talking about how famine is already unavoidable because of what's going on with the Strait of Hormuz. This is not good, and Trump does not have a handle on this. And this is everything we've eaten right now was grown last year. We're surviving off of yesteryear's like prosperity. None of that prosperity took place this year. We've had nothing but like tumultuous climate issues, and now this whole Strait of Hormuz situation. They're not talking about like supply chain disruptions, oil going over 100, what that's going to do to like the price of everything else, the second, third order effects. Like, it's not going to be pretty, and that's going to cause this like authoritarian response, right? People are going to start, rightfully so, getting upset about like the conditions of things, inflation, food riots. Like, when this anchor is talking about the cascading events and how it's just like a perfect domino, we're about to see a rough winter and a hard start to 2027. I'll just say that. It's going to be
You just said something because I know Larry Fink at BlackRock had said if it hits between 150 to 200 gallons, the price of oil, because it's a commodity. That's what I did. I worked in financing and banking and pensions. If it raises between 150 to 250, people don't understand it's a commodity sold in the open market. We're in trouble. We're talking about our food supply. We're talking about a lot of things coming to a complete halt.
yeah,
Because it's like you know how it works, right? So all the levers go in place and it keeps things moving. Everything just keeps moving. But when this happens, it's like a chain that broke, and then everything falls, it falls apart. It's like a domino effect. I don't think people realize to the enormity of this. When first and foremost gas should ever go to $5-6 a gallon. I'm talking the average. I'm not talking about you and I live in the Southwest. We already know gas can go even higher. And we're not talking about diesel. Diesel, I think it's $5 or $6 right now. We have to get trucks to move product across the country. This is all supply chain issues all the way across. And this particular man that I heard tonight said, we only have weeks left. No, he said, we can't have this for months and months. We just can't. What do you mean we can't? How are we going to stop it? That's my question. How do we stop this?
That's what Edward Dowd says. He says if this happens, demand destruction, global recession immediately. It's not looking good. Former BlackRock fund manager Edward Dowd said on July 14th, just the other week, that if oil continues to trend like this, it's going to be a disaster. The predictions aren't looking good. Experts are saying like it's bad. Energy's going to go up. I don't know. I don't know who told Trump to do this and what the benefit is, but this has been nothing but destruction and chaos the whole way through. And we're about to experience all of this hardship, and we have no idea like what is the reward, what is the benefit. And so, just to your point too, why you feel like move to come to the Southwest. Things are cheaper over here.
Right.
It's a little slower. There's not like an abundance of people. If things do start to go down south, so to speak, I think that it'll unravel slower down here than it would in other parts of the country. Does that make sense?
I do. I agree with you because, it's weird because.
But I mean, we still have like a 15-day window, because there have been reports that have been put out that say, hey, the first 2 or 3 days you're hanging out with your neighbor, you're having lunch, you're cleaning out the fridge, you're having bonfires because you're getting rid of food. But after that second week or so, that's whenever people really start to
And
break down. So, if we're looking at that type of societal collapse type situation, that's something else completely crazy. But I mean, it
it
is
could
being
be,
war gamed.
but it could be stopped. But here's the thing: they said tonight, Iran. I guess, our administration, our country asked for a ceasefire, and Iran said no.
Hmm.
And they don't. I don't think people understand. There's multi levels, like the RIGC. You know, this IRGC.
Hmm.
I think it's ILI. There are like levels to the Iranian government and how it works. And they've been planning, something like this would have happened 47 years in the making. I don't think people get it. They have learned to deal with all of this tumultuousness, war, conflict, bombing. We have not dealt with this. They're like, okay, you want to go the long shot? We'll go the long shot. And they're, threatening, I guess Hamas is, no, is it Hamas? Is going to, the Houthis are planning to stop any type of cargo ships going through the Red Sea. So people understand helium and not fertilizer, not
Hmm.
just oil and gas go through the Strait of Hormuz. So they're willing to do it because they have gone through what we're talking about, and so
Hmm.
they're willing to go the long haul. Can
And
we do that?
no,
World
no,
go through
we're
this?
we're about, and the other week, Lindsey Graham went to go be with the Lord. Praise God.
Yeah,
I'll just say that. I'll leave it there. He went to go be with the Lord. Praise God. Leave it there.
that's
And
what I see too. I know
yeah,
what you're saying.
yeah. And the other week, whenever he was still alive, and he made that comment about uh, going back to South Carolina, because I've got family from South Carolina. When he said, I'm going to go back to South Carolina and ask them to send their sons and daughters to go unalive themselves for Israel, I about lost my mind. I don't think people understand, like, where the people that are in power, the people that have got control of the people in power, the
Right.
megalomania things they want to carry out, and what this portends like for the future generation. Like this is not a good thing. They're not like we're not in a time frame where people are practicing restraint. You've got Iranians that are saying, no, please send us your soldiers. Please
Yes.
send ground troops. We want them to come in here. We want to mess them up. We want to create a mass casualty event. They said just the other day that they want to create national mourning in America. Like
Yep.
it is about to spiral out of control very quickly, and I can't help but think that this is all still part of the plan. That as all this truth comes out, as like humanity comes online, as we become conscious, as we see all this stuff take place, of course they would take us to war to try to cover it up. Of course
Yeah.
they would just drag us into some endless war that destroys finances and destroys people's minds and just covers up all this craziness. Of course they would do that.
Well, think about it this way. I mean, I've still told people, by the way, I have a friend of mine, her son-in-law, her new son-in-law, they just had a baby. He is in Kuwait. Okay. So, here's this beautiful daughter of hers, beautiful nurse, this beautiful young man. It is a biracial family. They just had a beautiful baby girl, and I don't want to say this. This is between you and I, but I think my girlfriend is a little naive. Well, he's in Kuwait. I'm like, oh Lord, and he's going to serve out his year, and I'm like, oh dear God, he's in Kuwait. I'm just, what I'm saying to you,
Yeah,
right? Of
yeah.
all places he could be in is Kuwait. And I'm like, yeah, that's good. I'm going to talk to her tomorrow because she's going to get off of work and we're going to have a little chit chat. And Carol and I are going to say everything's cool. And I'm like, he's in Kuwait. That's my thought process. Do you follow what I'm saying? And it
Hmm.
just makes me so upset because I'm like, I'm going to go with the story. I'm just going to go with it because I'm like, yeah, good. And I'm thinking, oh Lord, just can't he go anywhere else? Why is he in Kuwait?
She's got to tell herself something. She's got to tell herself something to cope and go with this narrative that everything's going to be hunky dory. Like she's got to tell herself something, man, because it's not looking good. Even if
No,
she's not trying to
it's
look at the news, she knows that it's not good. So she's got to say that, oh, it's okay, it'll be fine. And you have
That's
to
what
think,
that's exactly how we're playing this. I went to see
mm-hmm,
the baby, and then she told me her son-in-law just, he's leaving in a few days. This is before he left in February, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, I'm playing along with it, and he'll be in there for a year. He's got to serve his term. I'm like, dear God, he's in Kuwait. That's all I kept thinking about. Like, I couldn't think about anything else. The baby, I saw pictures of the baby. She's chef's kiss, but I couldn't think of anything. Like, he's in freaking Kuwait.
You
He's
know,
in Kuwait,
you know what's so crazy? You know what's so crazy is like, why are we not really seeing a whole lot of videos from soldiers in a day and age of just like media proliferation stuff going viral? Why have we not seen like one soldier's video go viral where he's like, heck yeah, I'm over here having the greatest time America, like, you know, like, let's go do it. Where are those videos? Because they're not real. They're not talking about the casualties. They're not talking about people that are getting like unalived over there. They're not talking about like the hard time they're having trying to sell this to the American people. This is a disaster.
And I think, to be honest with you, I don't mean to say this because I say this with love.
Hmm.
No matter who you are, what spectrum that you know, who you stand behind or who you don't stand behind, people have not grasped the enormity of this. They
Yeah.
think, well, this'll blow over.
No.
And the Strait of Hormuz will open, and this whole thing will just blow over,
No.
and everything will go back to square one. I'm like,
No.
I don't think this is going to be like that, and I can't say it. You know what I'm saying? Because she's not the only one I've talked to. Have you noticed that? It's like we're going to go away. We're going to, you know what I'm talking about? We're just going to do our little thing. It's, you know, I'm like, it's just like business as usual. You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting from people.
4 months ago, he said, "Oh, it's going to be 2 weeks to stop the war." Remember that? Remember when he was
Yes.
like, "Oh, it'll take like 2 weeks, we'll stop." And for 4 months, he's been jerking the whole world around, just like, "Ah, I can get this, I can do this." 4 months ago, he said, "Ah, it'll take 2 weeks." The last time he said that, it was 2 weeks to slow the spread, remember? And
Yes.
everything that came with that was nothing but tyranny, insanity, and just absolute like dystopian lawlessness. And it's going to be the same thing here with this situation. It's going to just drag in everything. It's going to pull in just like energy. It's going to pull in education. It's going to pull in like, you know, food. It's going to pull in communication. Just like it's going to drag in everything unnecessarily into this war. Like that's just how I see it right
Just
now.
tonight, he's applying 10% tariffs on 80 countries. On top of war, he's applying tariffs. I don't know if this is this is between you and I. Is this a master plan that we just didn't, you know, they've been like, we do this, then we do this, then we take down the economy. Oh, then we take down the government. Oh, then we do this. Is there some master thing going on? Because to me, it's just too diabolical to think that you're going to do all this and then apply tariffs on 80 countries. And then we have the possibility that we're going to put troops in Carg Island, 150,000 troops. And if it's like, is this all like something that's happened? Like, are we living in did we not wake up and we're living a parallel universe from 2019? Is this something just like, are we just waking up to this? Is it like something that's going on side by side?
I've been saying for some time now, I feel like this has got to be some like chat GPT script. Like this has got to be some like advanced AI thing running this because no logical thinking human being would be making these moves and doing the things that are happening right now. There's no way that Donald Trump is in control, thinking like this, moving like this, being as squirrely as he is, disrupting everything. Because it is, if anything, it is a plan. He is the disruptor, right? And they are bringing in this whole new world order as he's just going through jacking stuff up. So I feel like part of it is, you know, fake, like incompetence, and part of it is actual incompetence, you know, for the sake of being able to bring in things like Palantir, bring in, you know, our friends from across the ocean, our closest allies, so to speak, the people that we're talking about in Section 224, merging our military, our closest allies, because you want to keep your friends so close, right? It's just so crazy when you think about everything that's going on. So no, I think it is on purpose. It's a fake incompetence so that they can come through with even crazier restrictions and measures to justify some of the actions that they're about to take. Like realize it was only a couple weeks ago too, where this man said, "Hey, I'm going to end an entire civilization into a glowing ember. So
Right. You're right.
we haven't gotten to the part where we're rolling out, the nukes yet. But when certain people are having premonitions of these events taking
Mm-hmm.
place, and this is something I wanted to talk to you about whenever we were talking about it earlier. There is something about like the psychic mind, timelines, psychic residue, premonitions, precognition, and just this world we're living in, to where events that are so transformative like that do take place in the future, that people pick up on them, that they create like psychic ripples that come back to people in different time periods, and that's what people can pick up on. So,
What I
um,
just told you about my mother. Explain that to me. Forget about me. Just forget. Explain that to me. Why a woman who never was politically driven, who had no real political, she was like the biggest thing my mother was about politics was how to make a roast. My mother was so not political. It wasn't funny. She was Leave It to Beaver mother, little
nice.
short Italian, Pete Italian, very religious, who could care less about. My father would bring it up. What do you mean, Jimmy? What are you talking about? She had no clue. But the final year of her life, she was dedicated to watching what was going on, what was going on with Trump in the news, and then talking about the inauguration. And then she did say, I'm going to repeat it to you, she saw terrible, terrible things were going to come out. I mean, she said they were so bad that she was crying over it, like it was going to be so bad, that this was like something bad was going to happen because it was so bad. I mean, I'm thinking, my mother, what do you mean? How bad could things be? But we're sitting here, you and I talking tonight, and we can, if my mother was alive, I say, Mom, guess what? You were right. It's really, really bad. And you know what I mean? For a woman who didn't know anything about politics, she didn't even graduate from high school. She had an 8th grade education. I would have to tell her, guess what? Surprise. You were right.
He was right, man. The thing, and your mother, what would probably be like my grandmother's generation. I call that generation like the restrainer. They were the restrainers. Those were the
Yeah.
people that like prayed for us like every day, that like understood the importance of religion, understand having like a relationship with God. Like I called that generation, my grandparents and my great grandparents, like those are the restrainers. Because my parents, I love them, God bless them, but they're more spiritual than, if anything, they're not religious. And I'm saying they're the restrainers because prayers are important. You need to pray. You need to have people praying for you. You need to have people praying for your country, because demons are real. Dark entities are real. These things are always trying to grab hold of people. But whenever 2020 happened and everything that happened through there, they got rid of so much of that spiritual strength from that generation. And I'm saying, you said your mother
Well,
went to be with the Lord back
I'll
in
give you a little
2016.
insert, a little bit more about my mother. She never graduated high school. She dropped out
Mhm.
at 8th grade. Granted, we're talking about a whole different generation. They grew up in the Great Depression. She worked at a factory. She worked from people from all different backgrounds. Her best friends were African American. She did something what a lot of people didn't do. She associated with them. Back then, do you know how bad it was to associate with people out of your own group?
Hmm.
But she
Hmm.
grew up and she worked in a factory with poor people. So she got it. Matter of fact, she worked for a clothing factory owned by this Jewish man. Okay, let me just all set up. And I saw pictures of my mom with all these people. They were Hispanic, they were black, they were Asian. And I said, these are all your friends? Because there were a whole big group of them. They would take pictures. You know what I mean? Of course, they were smoking outside. Well, what do you want me to tell you? Back then, they liked to smoke cigarettes, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, these are my family. This was my family. So she would travel into, I mean, if you're familiar with Boston, she would travel into Roxbury. That was unheard of back then. Unfriggin' heard of. And so my mother came from a roots where people came from all backgrounds. Do you understand? But she would be considered like white woman walking. You following me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Her biggest friends and her biggest protectors were these people. She visited their homes. She even made a point to tell me she went into one home. They didn't have a lot. They opened their house to her, and don't get upset when I'm about to tell you, because I'm laying it on you. Cockroaches. She says I pretended I didn't see them. They were my friends. See, they lived poor. Do you understand?
Hmm.
And so my mother was poor. Do you get it? They owned a little meat market. They were not wealthy people, but they were all, they were all connected to one another. So back then that was unheard of. Absolutely, positively unheard of. So she didn't have, she said, I know I'm stupid. I don't have, my mother, I go, Mom, don't say that. I didn't have the education. Now, if you talk to my father's side of the family, my father's side, his sister was a math professor. They were all educated, which is the whole weird. It's almost like a whole Ricky Ricardo thing on Lucy. It was just the weirdest thing. But anyhow, I would tell my mother, you are so smart. You are so intelligent. You're full of wisdom. And she was so autistic. She had a lot of wisdom to her. But the point I am trying to make is that people forget that connection that I mentioned, even no matter what your background is, there's a symposium of like that thing you're talking about. That generation where they grew up in the Great Depression. Boy, my dad told me so many stories you would, knock your shoes off. They understand this, that it was my father said, you never want to grow up in the Great Depression. It was so bad to me all the time. So he said, you could sit at a diner with a wealthy person, a rich person, you never know it. We don't have that anymore. Do you understand? You could sit at a diner, people associated with one another because the times were bad. We're going to face that. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to face exactly what my mother, my father, and their generation would. Do you know what my father said? They used to walk around and ask people. Did you know they used to ask people, did you eat today? Did you eat today? So they can bring food to them. I guess the cheapest things you could get in the Great Depression were bananas. They actually went around asking people. If you met somebody, you had to ask them, did you eat today? I think we're going to be doing the same thing.
That's what I did during the pandemic. I swear to God, that's what I did. We had chickens. We had 12 chickens because I was genuinely concerned about lockdowns and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was walking around like our neighborhood, and I was like, "Hey, like, do you guys want eggs? I have like 12 chickens. I've got more than enough, man. Like, go ahead, take them." I started like making deals with our local bakery. He started like giving me bread. It was a whole cool thing. Like, I started feeding our neighborhood during the pandemic because of just that.
But I
And
had people in my area that were not able to, they were housebound. So when I went food shopping, you know how bad it was. I don't think people remember. Why do people forget? There wasn't
because
things
they
on
were
the shelves.
traumatized, because they were
That's it.
traumatized.
That's well said. Well said. There was nothing on the shelves. I remember going into Winco, and I know the guy was panicking, but he bought all the meat from all the cases. And people were screaming at him, you're taking all the meat. People have to eat. I remember living off of sardines. I don't know what you went through, but sardines and beans and rice. When I could get it in the supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
Do we realize that this could be our future?
That's coming. That's coming, and I think we are all going to. These are the austerity measures. We all have to figure out how to like tighten the belt. We're all having to learn to live with less, but that creates a different type of abundance in other aspects. And I think that ties into what we were talking about at the start of the show, or at least the start of this conversation, where we were like, there are people still tied into the spectacle, where there are people who are just like, that's no longer there anymore. And so as we're sitting here having a conversation about the new reality that's about to smack us in the face, there are people that are like, hey, Game of Thrones, bro. Game of Thrones, Rick and Morty, or Justice League, or Avengers.
Right.
There are people that are focused on that. God bless them. While we're talking about famine, we're talking about inflation, we're talking about shortages, we're talking about riots, we're talking about predicting like the negative effects of people's psychology and collapse style situations.
Well, I mean, we're talking about, yeah, you're right. Do you remember the looting that took place? I don't think people realize when the portion of the society, the fabric starts to fall apart. And I think instinctively we get premonitions. Mm-hmm. We know, but people will just turn it off. Like I've got a friend, like we're going on a trip to Alaska. I'm like, okay, great. I wish them the best. Have a great trip, right? I'm thinking, we live in a different world, you and I? Mm-hmm. I mean, is there just something I'm not picking up? Mm-hmm. I don't think people get, will you be there will you be there for your neighbor? Will your neighbor be there for you? Will that because
What
that's
are
a
they?
big thing for me. Because I know my neighbors. I've got my neighbors around me. I've got a family next door who has two beautiful children. Her and her husband. He's a multiracial family, beautiful family. I know when I was outside talking to Trey, we're gonna need each other. That's one of the kids, by the way, is Trey. Then I get neighbors over here. I make it a point wherever I live to always get to know my neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big deal for me. So
You
are you
have to.
gonna be there for your neighbors, and vice versa? Because this ain't like something you're gonna be living on an island all by yourself. Because this is not what I see happening. This
No.
is not what I see happening.
Last
You know?
year, towards the end of the year, I was talking about this article that had come up over on End Times headlines, and it was talking about fortress communities and how the rich elites are. I don't have this pulled up over here. I'm just like staring off in a space trying to remember. They were talking about how the rich elites in Florida were creating what they call fortress communities, where they were having private security guards, classic villain type stuff, a gate, um, you know, security personnel, armed people, and just gardens and their own little community thing going on. This was last year
Wow.
in like November, an
Yeah.
article coming out November or December of last year, them talking about, hey, rich people in Florida are just like pooling their money together and buying private security forces and setting up just defense perimeters, God knows what.
Well,
And
there is
go ahead.
there's a website. I can't remember the guy's name. He created a website to see how many millionaires are going to be fleeing the country. I'm like, what? So I guess he's tracking the
Mm-hmm.
likes of Jeff Bezos. I'm just making up names, to see, well, where is he picking up? Look, Peter Thiel is looking to buy some property in Argentina so
Mm-hmm.
he can build a data center off the ocean. So, yeah, they're all looking at other places.
Zuckerberg has his whole compound in Maui, and I think it's in Maui, but somewhere in Hawaii. We've got Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump just the other week saying that they are going to purchase that old facility and turn it into that old bunker and turn it into like a private resort. Like there is so much evidence of we've got this week too of Donald Trump saying that he's going to continue to build out the massive military complex underneath the ballroom at the White House. It's 6 stories deep. We covered it. It's like we have so much evidence of these people just either getting prepared for something,
Yeah.
something
Why
bad.
would they be doing this? Why would they be talking? Why would the president? I mean, really, he's obsessed. He's fixated. We're going to build a drone on top of the roof. We're going to make it bulletproof. We're going to make sure the whole thing is covered in a shield. Like, why are you doing all this? As a matter of fact, it's not the whole country. It's just Washington, D.C. in the ballroom, right? It's like, what do you do? So people aren't picking up the cues. Like, this is
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing. And
Mm-hmm.
it's there. They're showing you. They're going to have, there's reports, you said it. I don't know if it's Bezos, Zuckerberg, or little Billy Gates building a underground fortress, so God forbid something should take place. I heard today, which was, you talk about off the wall. Did you hear Peter Thiel, along with Musk, the CEO of Google, they want to build data centers in space?
I did. I heard Bezos did. Yeah, I had heard Bezos did say that. Yes.
So it is like they're living in this world that doesn't, like the sci-fi world,
Mm-hmm.
where when SpaceX, that became public. And so the IPO opened at 135. I think it went up to as high as 155. And then $55 billion BlackRock bought of SpaceX stocks. That's what they did. They put it in a, it's like they're living in a world where I guess they do know that there's going to be so many of them and not a lot of us, because there's 8 billion people on this planet, 340 million in this country approximately. So is this what Stephen Miller's been talking about? Trimming the fat. You know what I'm talking about? Like trimming the
It's
fat.
this is we are living in a time of serious transition. I don't think anybody could deny it. Like we're living in historic times. I think post pandemic. I think I think something happened in 2020 and 2021, and something happened at the end of last year too, to where it was like a condensing or like a convergence or just like a collapsing, like something with the timeline and just with everything going on. Something happened in 2020 and then 2025, and we are just like off to the races right now. I do not know how to describe it other than that. And
Some people say that we're actually the 2019 was the end of the world. We just haven't woke up from it. I don't know if 2020 meant. I don't know because it is kind of bizarre, and it seems like things are moving at an exponential rate, fast. All these things we're talking about are happening in days,
yeah,
hours. Like you turn on the news and it's now something else and something else, and it's rapid. Don't you notice that? It's got rapid.
well, it's like
Like picking up
stuff
things.
that we would like take years, like months that we would take like unpacking,
Right.
years that we would take like researching. It would like you know like time moved differently just a few years ago. Things are moving way too quick right now, way too
Very,
quick, and
very.
our brains aren't able to like internalize or digest or comprehend like what's actually happening, man. Maybe it is like what Jen's saying. Maybe it is
Much,
too much
much
media,
more.
but I just feel like it's off the charts.
It's yeah, and there's no. I agree with Jen. There's no downtime anymore. Like you could get up, you and I, in another hour, and there'll be something else popping up in news, or it's being dialogued and it's being sent. It's kind of weird. Like it doesn't take a few hours. You're like, oh crap, I got to turn my phone on. You say you got to go to work, right? Or you're doing something. You're like, crap, what's now? What the hell happened? I only went to sleep a few hours. Is
Didn't you
this
know
really real anymore?
the world blew up in 2 seconds while you went to sleep? That's how this works.
I'm afraid. I'm not no disrespect, but I am afraid of like, what are we gonna? I don't know about you. If you turn your phone off, you just shut it off for a few hours. That you wake up and it's like pop. I'll get like a news break. I'm like, are you kidding? Like I don't know what is it. What is in a few hours are to expect? Are we to expect ground invasion? Are we to expect something bigger than we could? What could be bigger waiting for us? Because it's like it's not one, like you just said it. It's not like a few weeks something happens, a few. It's like now every few hours
Yeah,
something's being dropped. I just told you the article I read tonight about it was. I know it was Eastern Standard Time, but it wasn't a few hours ago. Iran's like, oh screw you people. No, we're not doing a ceasefire. So what's tomorrow? What are we doing tomorrow?
it
Because the president said there's going to be repercussions,
it
bad
probably will be the ground
repercussions.
invasion. I would not be surprised if it wasn't ground invasion. Donald. He's got to do something to save face, to show strength. I would not be surprised if he was like, we're gonna go ahead and invade Iran. The they've been conducting missile strikes for the past like 12 or 13 days. That's
Right.
not deterred them. They're basically saying send in your troops, send your boys here.
And
That's
where's
gonna
Congress? Where is Congress? Congress? Where is our Congress? They were supposed to be the one that handles the purse. They passed a wars power resolution and then backpedaled. Now they attempted it again in the House. The Senate attempted it. That didn't work in the Senate. Where are they? Are they on vacation, recess again? I mean, we don't even have a functioning government.
hmm
We don't. It's like,
hmm
they don't want to deal with it. They don't even have the bipartisanship. And what they do pass is it's just horrific. It's horrific. Now we're going to give them $1.15 trillion. Now Thunes is like, we don't have the $93 billion to give you. Well, what are we going to do? Because they were asking for it. They're saying the Pentagon's running out of money. And then there's other stuff that they attach to the riders. It's like, it's dysfunctional and it's falling apart.
very
So
quickly.
very quickly. And then what does the president do? That's the other thing. So all of this is happening this way. So what are they going to do? Are they going to say, is he going to go in full force and effect and say, well, I guess we're going to put boots, 150,000 Marines on in Cargill. Is that the next thing?
It's impregnable. It's impregnable, and people have told him. His own military commanders have told him not to do this. The Pentagon told him not to do this. I would not put it past him. Better yet, I would not put it past some of our closest allies. I'll say
Right,
to
right.
whisper into his ear to tell him that hey, we have it on good intel that you
I
should do
believe
X,
you.
Y, Z, and then he'll do it. He'll do it. He'll
Well,
send our boys and girls over there.
he backpedaled with Saudi Arabia. He was going to give them the okay. You know about Saudi Arabia for the
hmm
you know what nuke
hmm
to develop a nuclear weapon, and then paddled it and mentioned the Accord. okay, because I can't say the whole word. So then now it's like this flipping and flopping going back and forth. But the reality of it is because of all this volatility and his he's not he's unpredictable. We don't know. And there is a doctor you have to watch. His name is Dr. Gottner. He's a clinical psychologist. He says we're this close. This is what he said. Not once, not twice, multiple times, that he wouldn't he wouldn't be surprised if the president were to, let off a nuke, literally. That's what he said over and over and over again. So I guess clinical psychologists are saying that he, driven by the fact they think there is other things going on with him, that they would not be surprised he would just push the BUDTO. That's the scary part. That's the part I'm waiting for.
The megalomania and the arrogance of somebody like of DJT, bro. He will do this. The man wants to be the world's greatest president or America's greatest president in history. That's why he's talking about UFOs. I would not be surprised if that's another one of his tricks up his sleeve. Oh, hey, look at this UFO. Presses a button, boom, it's either a laser or some type of low-yield tactical device. I'll say that.
Well, do you remember the drones? Do you remember the sightings of all the drones that were making the news? Mm-hmm. And do you remember how it just faded into abyss? To this day, they say they were commercial drones, but nobody really knows. I have friends of mine that are in the commercial end of it, and they told me, they said, we wouldn't spend that kind of money for the type of drones that people were seeing. Those drones probably were coming from government contractors. Mm-hmm. Here is my question. So, do you remember the missing scientists that we haven't found? There are many scientists that have been unalived or missing. Nancy Guthrie. And where is little Mitchie McConnell today? This is a question. This is like out of a sci-fi. So we have missing scientists to this day, Professor McGarland, who literally had really top clearance in the Pentagon. They haven't found him. He's still gone. Nobody knows. There's a few other scientists who are working aerospace dynamics missing. Others that are unalived. Nobody can explain what happened to them. To this day, we don't know.
Well, it's normal. That's what happens whenever, you're disclosing UFO things. Don't you want your top scientists disappearing? You don't want people that are connected to teleportation and anti-gravitic science just disappearing at a time when we talk about advanced technology.
And that Amy Eskeridge, she had a YouTube video. I don't know if you got to see it, but she said that, basically you and we can use subliminal words here, that, primarily she wasn't going to off herself, but apparently she did. But she was working on anti-gravity. So I don't know what happened to her.
I was covering on the show this week. There's this article over here at Signs of the Time. They said that the U.S. conducted a successful UFO, quote, luring operation as government files detail orb encounters. I'll send it to you in the DMs, but they put it up July 12th over at Liberation Times, and they were basically saying that fleet of UFOs and stuff that we were seeing, that was a part of an operation to lure actual UFOs so they could shoot them down. It's like, so wait, you were running operations to get UFOs to shoot down for reverse engineering? So were those our UFOs? Were we trying to attract things that we can't control? So we're what's going on here?
Well, what did you think about the hearings of the whistleblowers? Did you watch them, Gear and all of them? Great. Did you watch the hearings, which were very unusual to have because Congress has denied it. The government's denied and all of a sudden now we're having hearings and whistleblowers that are saying they've seen aircrafts. They have seen aliens. I don't get it. Went in front of a congressional hearing for that, not once, twice.
I think, I'll say a couple things. One, I think I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to cut the live because this is like a whole separate thing, and we could be up here for the next 4 hours talking about it.
Yes, thank you for letting me up to talk to you.
No, thank you for coming. Thank you for just stopping by. Two, I think that we're being told a narrative. I think there's some narrative being told with their version of the alien UFO stuff I do believe in aliens. I do believe in like otherworldly entities. I do believe in
Oh, absolutely.
cryptoterrestrials. I do believe in previous survivors, advanced civilizations that have survived previous cataclysms. I believe in a lot of weird stuff, and I talk about it all the time. But I think what we're being told with these people is some type of story that I haven't been able to figure out yet. I do watch some of the hearings. Like I watched David Grush come out the other day talking about at Capitol Hill, saying like, "Hey, we've recovered non-human biologics." I talked earlier today about Ross Coulthart and the Correct device, this so-called alien technology device that went viral on Monday over the weekend. And I'd asked the question. I said, if this is like alien technology, people like Jeremy Corbell says that UFOs are classified as weapons of mass destruction. If they wouldn't allow something like this to live on the internet with the technology that we have these days, because they can reverse engineer things, we can print things, we can 3D print things, we have AI. They would not allow a device like this or a schematic of this device to exist. Um, and so no, there's a lot of crazy things going on with like this whole UFO
I
disclosure.
think there's more to it. I think there's distractions that I think, to be quite honest with you,
Absolutely,
um, I don't think it's
there's
all what
distractions and
it's.
there's truth to it.
Yes, there's truth to it, and I appreciate you having me on. It was nice to finally to do something that's so different from what you see on YouTube lives and stuff. I'm going to definitely follow you, but I'm also going to promote you on mine because I do get a lot of people on my lives, and I'm going to mention you because I think we need to have this extra, this existential type of talk versus just about, I'll talk about social things that are happening in the now, news information, what's come up. But we need to really think beyond that. We
Yeah,
need to really see the bigger picture because everything that you said, I'm with you. There's something going on. We're getting the, what are they, the downloads. We all are getting it. Some of us are really tuned into it. And it's scary when you start to talk to people that get it. Like, oh my gosh, you get it too.
yeah.
That's what I think we need to do more of, because I think once we see we're not crazy, we're not cray cray, that this is not just two people. There's a lot of us out there that feel the same way. I think that will make it. I think it's good to bring it out and talk about it, so
The
it's not like scary. You know what I'm
the
saying?
news the news and the politics, the spectacle, the stuff that we just talked about, like that's the surface level stuff. That just
Right.
like gets us communicating and connecting. Once we get like past that and we can get to like the real true like the real levels of conversation, that's what really matters. And that's why we were talking about it like right up off the rip. There are people that are, still tied into like this organic or this synthetic timeline, this spectacle, this joke of what we think of as reality. And there's something else that's like coming into our field of like perception, awareness, of comprehension, and it's changing people. So you just either have people who are locking in even more to a synthetic and fake timeline, or you have people who are basically like being upgraded in real time by like some otherworldly or extra dimensional force. I don't even know how to describe it. And that's just like these days where my mind is going. Like I still pay
Very
attention to
cool.
all the news, all the things that are going on, but I can just feel like something else pushing everything. Does that make sense?
Oh, I do.
And,
I do.
and
I do. I did. I'll leave you with this. I had an episode. I told you I have you give you bits and pieces about me. I
mhm.
had an episode after my father passed. I was in my bedroom. The door was open all the way, and then it slowly started to close. And I woke up, and I don't know. I don't know if it's a dream. I don't know. People were living in my living room. They're wearing black and white, and they telling me, I was sitting there looking at them. They're like, "Well, we're not dead, you know. Just because you see us, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, and I'm thinking, not saying the words, yeah, I see you, but we're not dead." They kept repeating that over and over again to me, and they were all wearing like black coats, like the men in black coats, black tie, and a white shirt, and they were just telling me that like you have to remember we're not dead. So I don't know what that means, other than maybe what I'm getting at is that the world in which we think is that when people leave and move on in physical form, they're not dead. I just don't know. That's what was said to me. We're not dead. So just in case you're looking at us, which is because we're dressed differently than you, and they were all wearing black and white, all of them, we're not dead. I personally think there is something happening where we are hitting that place where we're bumping against it, which is not the reality that we normally want to see. I do. Like I said, I have a very strong religious belief, so I don't sit here and say, is this a vivid imagination? Possibly. I can't explain my mother. There are things that happened to her, but that wasn't my imagination. I was with my dad. I can see it today. I remember my dad later on saying to me, don't bring it up. I know you're going to bring it up. You know what I mean? After the whole thing happened, it was like, don't bring it up. I'm like, yeah,
but don't remind me. Don't talk about it.
Yeah, don't talk about it. It was all over.
Isn't that crazy though? Like, isn't that something you would want to talk about? Like, that's what blows my mind.
He did not want to bring it up even after the election. He said, promise me you won't bring it up anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about? I thought he was talking about the election. He goes, your mother. You remember your mother? Like, he reminded me of what we saw. He says, you remember your mother? I'm like, yeah. He goes, matter of fact, I have a picture of my son visiting my mother. And she thought, because she saw Trump win the election, that he may show up early to visit her. I'm not making it up. You see the surprise on her face? And she's like, oh, it's my grandson. Because she believed like he was going to tell her stuff about what was going to happen, because there was a lot of bad things going to happen. But anyhow, bottom line is my father said, whatever you do, just don't bring it up. And my mother was of sound mind to the moment she passed. She even knew when she was passing. So it wasn't like she had dementia or Alzheimer's. Both my parents, I hope I die like them. They were lucid. They really they were very, strong-minded individuals. My mother even asked the nurse about a few hours before she passed, is it time yet? Is it time yet? Because she knew the time was coming close. She was extremely lucid. So I just don't get it. Like, my father was a very stubborn old Italian man. He's like, whatever you do, don't bring this up. I'm like, are you talking about the election? No, what your mother said. When we were there. I'm like, yeah, well, we all, with both of you and I were there.
That's how it works, though. You have one that's like technical and one that's spiritual, one that's left brain, one that's right brain.
My dad was definitely a right-brainer. He was an Aries. He was a right-brainer. He was an engineer. He was a tool and die maker. You couldn't get any more right-brain with him. And the sad part about it is my mother was she was Pisces. She was very intuitive. She's both her and I.
That's fire and water, like right there. That's crazy.
And I am a Pisces. So if that gives you any to the intuitiveness end of it, but my mother would just be so like intuitive. So I didn't mean to go on and on, but I truly think we are hitting, those realities are hitting, they're colliding. And I don't think people are prepared for them. If I had my husband here, he's like, oh, it's just factual things or coincidences. No. My husband will call it, it's a coincidence. It's just a coincidence. I'm like, is it really a coincidence? Because I don't think so.
Stuff is moving way too fast in order for it to be a coincidence. And if it is a coincidence and they have this kind of coordination, that's scary. But Chitterville, thank you so much for
spending you, and I will definitely follow you, and definitely I will let people know. Thank you.
We will definitely be talking. I will for sure be in your DMs.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to hear from you. Okay, good night.
Thank you so much. Oh man, that was awesome. I was not expecting that response at all, and that was super awesome. We got to spend some time with Chitterville. And you guys as well, and we got to have like a conversation. Genuinely stoked. But it's about 1:00 over here for me. I'm gonna go ahead and shut the stream down. Who knows? Maybe we'll do this again either tomorrow or sometime next week or sometime here soon. But this was awesome. Just being able to sit here, talk with you guys. Like, I've got notes on all kinds of stuff. The physical embracement that she talked about. The premonitions, the psychic families, like the psychic layer, all this stuff. Like, she just got me going. And these are the kind of conversations that I'm trying to have. The same way I'm like, there's layers to this, there's levels. I'm trying to have those deeper layers because that's what's actually going on. So, if you're listening to this now or in the future, thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. This has been fantastic. And I look forward to having a conversation with you all every single day of the day, every single day. Take some time to go read the article that we put out, Declassified Documents Reveal Psychic Soldiers, the government search for remote viewing. Given everything that we discussed in just this little stream so far, I think you understand why I find this stuff infinitely fascinating and why there's a kernel of truth in every single thing that's been discussed so far. So please take the time to go read it. Go watch the video that we did about DMT as well, the Matrix Code of the Reality. This is also tied into the psychoid layer and people being able to peer into the future and find different events and things like this. It's really, really wild. But yeah, thank you guys for taking the time. A totally random space, a totally random stream. And I hope that we do more in the very near future. And I look forward to hearing your stories, your experiences, and even appearing over on Chitterville's spaces and streams and videos. But thank you guys for spending some time with us. Please take some time to go follow the pages, go follow us on our socials, follow our YouTube, follow our Twitter, follow us on Substack. We're working. And it's for awesome rewards like that, being able to share space with people like Chitterville and everybody else. So thank you guys for joining, and I will talk to you very soon. Be blessed, stay vigilant, expose lies, and share truth. This is Noisera, Freedom Faction.